Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today I'm going to show you a bunch more coincidences. You know how those coincidences go. They just happen to be everywhere, but you know, they're just coincidences. So here we go. All right, this is from Mike Preston, and he mentions quite the coincidence. How many times has Coinbase gone down since they halted trading of XRP? Do you get it now? And he copied me in on that, and Brad comes. I mean, I'm assuming this is right, but if it is right, yeah, it is kind of crazy, isn't it? But anyway, moving along. Michael at VAL5 Link sent me this. San Francisco-based crypto exchange Coinbase, an anonymous crypto whale, and a few other trading platforms have shifted a staggering 425 million XRP coins. Wanted to show you this. It says over 235 million in XRP moved by major crypto players. Whale Alert detected 4 transactions, 425 million XRP made by the largest U.S. crypto digital currency exchange, Coinbase. It's moved 220.3 million XRP between its wallets and sent 178.9 million XRP to an anonymous address. It says they were provided by BitHome. Then this down here says Jed McCaleb keeps selling his XRP holdings. It says as of reported by you today, over the weekend, he sold, he sent 76 million XRP from his taco stand address to be sold, with over 404 million remaining on the wallet's balance. I have no idea what's going on with that. Okay, now this is probably the most important SEC news. This is about the Ripple lawsuit and the settlement. Now, on February 15th, Ripple wrote a letter to the SEC as a part of what's going on, and this is XRP Crypto Wolf. This is the actual letter right here that they're writing to the judge, I guess, on February 15th. And this is, I think this was a letter that was requested by the judge as a part of the whole process of the lawsuit. Now, lucky for us, we don't have to break it down, because his name's Jeremy Hogan. There it is. He has legal briefs. You need to go subscribe to him. This guy's really been doing a great job. Every document that's coming out, he's summarizing it for all of us average Joes out here. And I wanted to highlight the part that he kind of said was the most important with regard to potential settlement and what Ripple says in this letter. This is pretty cool. Listen to what he says.
Part of the letter. But let's take a look at page 7, and this is where things, I think, get even more interesting, because typically the judge does, and the judge did in this case, ask for what's the settlement prospects. Usually the judge wants these cases to get settled. The judge can't try every case in front of her, so the judge wants to talk about settlement. So the parties have to come up with a statement as to the prospect for settlement, and that may be the most interesting paragraph. Quote, counsel for the parties have met and conferred, and having previously discussed settlement, do not believe there is a prospect for settlement at this time. Fair enough. Finally, this is where it gets very interesting. Defendants agree with this statement, but note that previous settlement discussions took place under a previous administration and were principally with relevant division directors who have since left the SEC. Let's take a look at that one more time. Defendants agree that they can't reach a settlement at this time, but they would note to the court that all of the settlement discussions took place with the previous administration division directors. So in my previous vlogs, I talked about how Gensler is coming in, and I kind of did a little speculation that that might be the best time to get this case settled. And I believe that that is what Ripple is alluding to here. They're going to be dealing with a different enforcement director. They're going to be dealing with a different SEC director. And I think that's where they're heading with this. So my summary of the case management order is that the timeframes I had laid out in my previous vlogs are spot on. Also, I was surprised in the letter that how weak the SEC's position is. I believe that they wasted so much time on talking about what XRP, or what Ripple was calling XRP, that they really wasted an opportunity to provide the judge with some fact that the case would be based on. And I really thought Ripple did a good job of addressing that. But again, and I want to go back to paragraph 3 of the letter, the biggest takeaway is the discussion of settlement. Ripple makes sure to point out that it had failed in negotiations with the previous administration and hinted that it was waiting for the new SEC directors to come into power. This would be consistent with Ripple believing that Gensler or the new enforcement director will bring new settlement potential to the table, and this is consistent with what we talked about in my last vlog, the idea that the current SEC directors are holding up the settlement, but that it could very well happen after Gensler and his people get into power. Wait for that, and let's see what happens. So, thanks for watching.
All right, so I thought that was great. So the gist of it is that Ripple is hinting there to me that they think that they might be able to settle when the new SEC guy, Gensler, we've talked about him a lot on this channel, but when he comes in. Now, let me show you some coincidences, folks. First, I wanted to show you this. Blythe Masters, to me, is one of the most interesting characters in this whole digital asset space. The reason that she fascinates me, I've told you 1,000 times on this channel, that all of this relates back to the financial crisis. This woman right here worked for JP Morgan. She was literally the creator of the credit default swap that was at ground zero. It was the problem in the financial crisis. After the financial crisis, she helped to clean up the mess at JP Morgan and then left and created the company. I think she took a break and then created the company Digital Assets, which the way I've always looked at it was JP Morgan's representation in this space going into it. Now, yesterday I was showing you a list of the crypto rich list, and make no mistake, there are no coincidences, but this is an article about how she is one of the wealthiest people in crypto. Former JP Morgan star is Britain's cryptocurrency queen after making a 360 million, I guess that's pound, personal fortune. Says a British woman who created the credit default swap has emerged as one of the world's richest cryptocurrency and blockchain tycoons. Blythe Masters, formerly head of the commodities at JP Morgan, who was boss of Digital Asset Holdings, startup funded by some of the world's largest banks between 2015 and 18. She's 51. Let's go down and see if it says anything else interesting. She was once labeled the woman who invented financial weapons of mass destruction due to the role played by credit default swaps, a financial derivative or contract that allows an investor to swap their credit risk with that of another investor in the 2008 financial crisis. Now, here's what I want you to get out of that. What is credit default swaps? Derivatives. You know how many times on this channel we've talked about all the money? If you were going to talk about all the money in derivatives, would JP Morgan be somewhere in the game? I think they would be. Now, as my father, the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, has said 1,000 times to me, nothing happens in finance without JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. I believe Blythe Masters and JP Morgan, I believe I'm about to show you their tie to what Ripple's been working on. Watch this. So the first thing you need to see is this. This is an article from back April 3rd, 2014. JP Morgan restructures unit that housed the London Whale. And I thought that was cool. The London Whale, I've never heard of that. JP Morgan has restructured its chief investment office, former home of the London Whale, in a further step away. First, I wanted to show you what the London Whale was because I was trying to figure out what it was. Craig Delaney was named head of digital. Says he took over the CIO September 12th after a JP Morgan trader nicknamed the London Whale amassed a giant position in credit derivatives that racked up billions in losses. So you can see, you know, JP Morgan back in the day had a tremendous problem with derivatives, and you got this woman that created the credit default swap. Now look, in this one article just happens to show two people. At the end of this article it says, they're talking about the restructuring of JP Morgan. It says this guy, head of investment bank, who moved to Carlyle, the private equity house, and the resignation this week by Blythe Masters, head of commodities. Okay, but then if you go up here, let's look at what else happened. As a part of the restructuring, Sandy O'Connor, who was JP Morgan's treasurer, will become the chief regulatory affairs officer, succeeding Tim Ryan, who was moved to a less hands-on role. It says, then as you go down, I think it mentions her again. Says his move says Miss O'Connor's role is to be more geared towards the bank's implementation of the rules. Now, Sandy O'Connor, so that's the same Sandy O'Connor that just went to Ripple's board on December 14th, okay? Now, what does this all mean? Well, today, Yoshitaka Katal, the CEO of SBI Holdings, who is also on the Ripple board of directors, tweeted this out. Remember the article the other day about BNY Mellon and their custody? Okay, BNY Mellon is going to custody digital assets. This weekend I laid out for you in tweets that BNY Mellon and how the retired guys from BNY Mellon were involved in starting PolySign, which is going to be the back end to institutional custody for all these huge mega banks, in my opinion. Well, this is Yoshitaka Katal tweeting out about how BNY Mellon is going to do this custody. And this is in reference to the article we covered. BNY Mellon announces crypto custody. Well, you'll never guess who the top shareholders are in SBI Holdings, which Yoshitaka Katal is the CEO of. Well, Northern Trust, who's one of the largest traditional custodians in the world, is there. Also, Bank of New York Mellon. And then if you go down, JP Morgan Chase, and also State Street. So let's look. Who are the largest traditional custodians in the world? Top custodian banks. BNY Mellon, State Street, JP Morgan. And it just so happens that they happen to be the top shareholders in SBI, which bought 10.5% of Ripple in 2016. Okay? So let's look at this. Han Solo had tweeted this out back in 2019. Digital assets will trickle, then flood, State Street exec says. So here's State Street, who's on the board. They're one of the top 3 custodians in the world. And remember, January 15th, you saw that article where Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, and JP Morgan are going to custody digital assets. Remember that article? A few days later, BNY Mellon. PolySign, the most secretive custody project in the world, just happens to have all these BNY Mellon execs on it. And then, so here's the State Street guy. This was from a while back, but he said, we knew at the time, all they're waiting on was custody. Once they have the custody part solved, then these firms can be involved in the gathering of the assets from this great wealth transfer. It wasn't going to happen without them being able to be a part of that. But now that you're seeing them announcing that they're going to do custody, get ready. This is a clip from a video of that guy who's Jay Biancamano, State Street's head of digital assets. And I believe that we are on the precipice of the flood he references here.
Talking about intellectual property, paintings, other things like CryptoKitties, right? People have heard of CryptoKitties. So we're seeing assets start to become digitized. Trickle, and then we believe there'll be a flood. When that happens, I would look at a historic precedent. If you think about 30 years ago when assets moved from materialization to dematerialization, where we moved from coupon clipping to stock certificates to electronification. We believe the same thing will happen with digital assets.
There you go. Okay, I wanted to show you the market today. We had a pullback over the last 48 hours, but we're starting to edge back up. But what I wanted to point out is a couple of things. The first is that the overall market cap there wasn't like a ton of money hitting the exit ramps of crypto in general. It was just a reshuffling of where the money was, more or less. We're at 1.5 trillion now, and then I just wanted to show you, you've got the best performing thing right now is this. What I don't know much about, it's Polkadot, and I wanted to point something out to you because I couldn't remember if I think I mentioned it the other day, but Polkadot is now the 5th. It's in the top 10. Apparently they must have something going on. But anyway, iTrustCapital, where I have a Roth IRA and a SEP IRA so that I can buy digital assets in my IRA, they just added Polkadot. They're about to add Stellar as well. Here they say it's estimated Q1 2021. So I wanted to make you aware of that. If you don't know about iTrustCapital IRAs, I've got a description in my description. I have links to iTrustCapital where you can get a month free, a coupon code. I also did an interview a long time ago with the COO, Blake Skadron. It's in my link down there. You can find out more about it. But the gist of it is this. This is a way for you to buy crypto, and they also have gold and silver and other products. But this is a way for you to buy crypto and either be able to buy and sell in there without incurring tax consequences. And it's either tax deferred or tax free going forward. Huge benefits. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. Tell your friends and family to go check out iTrustCapital. Thanks for listening.